want to be better tomorrow than I am today. So what do I have to do today to get to that point? So what I love about coming to an event like this, chat with you, it's getting the conversation going with others. Like I've had so many technicians who have taken a program and say, Trevor, man, your course has changed my life. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for 25 years. I didn't need one of those. You don't need one of those. You know what I mean? So we have a safe community where you can come and get a couple of ambassadors, Angel Freeberg and Aiden Lucy, to give them advice. So if they have a technical issue or a personal development issue or a career development issue, we're trying to just help those technicians globally to level up.
This week on Let's Vent, Trevor Matthews from Refrigeration Mentor, live from AHR. He's a fellow Canadian from way out east in Cape Breton. He partied his way through a business degree, ended up in commercial refrigeration almost by accident, and eventually walked away from a cushy technical director job at Emerson Copeland to start the training business that we all know him for. We get into how he took a 50% pay cut to leave the tools, the 90-day video challenge that built Refrigeration Mentor, why callbacks are killing contracting margins, and how teaching your techs gross margin can change the way that they work. Listen, if you're a tech wondering whether to bet on yourself, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Let's Vent podcast. We're here live at AHR, having a blast. 2026, we're on the last day, day 3 of this epic, it's a marathon.
Yeah, I know. There's lots of people heading out and like, I'm trying to get my plan. I'm just getting started. Love that.
Well, welcome, Trevor, to the show. You're someone that I think we first connected about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah. Well, the first time actually, I think you called me and reached out over Facebook originally, and we had a little phone conversation as you were getting started with your business.
Yeah, that's right. I remember now.
Yeah. And then we stayed in contact. We've met here every year since. Super pumped to have you on the show, fellow Canadian.
Yeah.
From the booming metropolis of Brantford, Ontario.
Yeah, that's right. So amazing.
But you've been in the business for 20 years.
Yeah.
You started your business 5 years ago, 4 years ago?
Refrigeration Mentor 5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, Refrigeration Mentor. So definitely go check that out. Throw all that in the description down below. But talk to me about your journey. How'd you get to here? What got you started in trades? Because you're first generation. You're not someone that was grown up in it.
I went to university first. That was like what you had to do. You had to go to university or you wouldn't get a job.
Especially in Ontario, you were forced to.
Yeah, well, I was from Cape Breton, so originally.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the same thing. Guidance counselors, parents. They just wanted someone to go to school because really no one in my family, my sister was the first one and out of dozens and dozens of cousins that went to university. So it was like, yeah, I go to university too.
Right.
So
what'd you take?
I took business.
Of course.
And then I did nothing with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I just finished it and got a piece of paper, which was great. Party real hard, a little too much, I think. But then when I was done, I had my student loans. It was like 40 grand or something. They were just like, here's money, go to university, take all this money. It was great. But then I had to grow up and pay these $600 a month, $700 a month student loans, and I had to do something with my life.
Yep. And so why refrigeration? How did you get into this industry? Because it's not a simple one, number one. Definitely not one that's probably talked about in business school.
Not at all. There was no, like, we had, at our high school, I think we had woodworking and we had maybe plumbing. I can't even remember. That wasn't really on woodworking. It probably would have been the main one. But when I moved to Ontario and me and my brother were at an event and I wanted to do something to travel. So it was like, I was going to take bartending actually.
Nice.
Because then, you travel in the world, you can get a bartending job. Everyone needs
it.
Yeah, everyone needs a bartender.
It's universal how to pour a beer.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to go become a bartender, but then when I was going back to I met a guy, like I'm pretty social, from Cape Breton. So I met a guy at the time and I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to take an HVAC program. I'm like, what's HVAC? Well, actually, refrigeration. I'm like, okay, well, what's refrigeration? If you go in the grocery store and you buy some milk, I'm like, yeah, I bought milk before. Come on, dude. And he was like, well, people fix that, install that, service that. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm like, how much can you make? Well, my dad makes $50 an hour. And so that's when I started getting.
That was it.
That was it. I got in the HVAC industry. So wow. I took a HVAC program.
Nice.
Yeah, so from there, I really wanted to it was a 1-year program that was condensed into 2. I got a gas fitter license, I got an oil license, but I wanted to get into commercial refrigeration. So I had to move to Western Canada. So that's when I moved to Edmonton, Alberta.
Yep.
Where you're
where I am. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. No, it was all good. It was a good time. So I moved there and then I started in doing construction. So as a technician, building stores, learning, making mistakes, learning, getting better. And they see me progressing because I was busting my ass all the time. So I continued to grow, and I was making tons of money. Like I was smashing out 80-hour weeks. So, going from $14 an hour, because my goal was to make $250 an hour. A week, sorry, $250 a week. Jeez. That was my goal back in the early 2000s. You know what I mean? And then I was making $1,000 a week and then $2,000 a week. I'm like, oh,
what am I going to do?
Yeah. But it was just putting the work in, right? And that's how it really started my journey in refrigeration.
Wow. And so then you did aspire to become a business owner at some point, pretty early on.
Yeah, so I wanted to, back in 2009, after I became a journeyman, I talked with my wife, and I was like, I want to start a service business. You know what I mean? I want to get into owning a business. And back in 2009, it was service. Like I wanted to get into supermarket service or refrigeration service. But the years passed on. We started to travel the world. We went to different places and lived different places. So it wasn't always in one spot. So it was just one of those things that was always on the back burner for me to start a business.
Right.
We were having a lot of fun. We moved to Australia. I worked out and did refrigeration there.
Oh, so cool.
We lived in New Zealand. So we were traveling all over the place, which was such a great experience. Then we came back to Canada, and every time I come back to Canada, I always had a job. So I'd make a phone call, and they're like, yeah, you want to come and work? No problem. We got work for you, which was great. So I went back out west for a while. Worked at some supermarket companies. Then I went up Fort McMurray. I worked up there, and I was able to pay off my student loans because they just pay.
The money is so good up there.
Yeah, it's not the funnest of time because you just work 12-hour days, 7 days a week, but made enough money, paid off the student loans, and then decided to move back to Ontario, where my wife is from, and I started doing supermarket refrigerator back there again.
Got it.
So I was doing that, and I was working downtown Toronto, doing service work. And then I'm like, I had a kid coming on the way, and I'm like, I don't want to be working in downtown Toronto. It's a lot of driving because I live in Brantford, it was a couple hours away. And then I looked for a job. I was looking at jobs, and there was this job for a company called Emerson. Didn't know Emerson owned Copeland. And then I went into an interview, and I got this job at a company called Copeland, really big in the refrigeration industry. And that was when I started into business development. So I started to learn the business side of refrigeration. So I was working with contractors, teaching them about all the solutions, how to create a solution for a customer, like how to do projects, how to sell components. So we would go in and help the contractor sell to the end user. So that was one of my jobs, teaching them how to sell that. And I really enjoyed the teaching. So I could see them making these wins, going in and helping them grow their business, helping the technicians learn how to solve the problems, fix the stuff. And that was a really momentous thing in my life because that's where I went from a technician, which was amazing, but I started to learn more of the professional side, how to write an email, how to talk to someone without cursing. You know what I mean? So just those growth moments of your career. So then I started taking a lot of business stuff at that point.
Finally put that degree to use?
Yeah, so I took one of the courses I always tell everyone to take, or at least look at, was a Dale Carnegie course. Like it was a public speaking course because I was starting to get up and talking in front of groups of 20, 30, 40, 50 people, and I was scared. Like every time my stomach would hurt before I'd go in front of these big crowds, and I needed to beat that fear. So what do? You go out and you put yourself out there. And so I took this Dale Carnegie course. So you get up in front of a bunch of people and you're talking and you have to do presentations, and it sucked at first, but I got good at it. Right. I started getting better. And so while that journey over that 7 years with Copeland, I was just investing in the technical side, but investing in bringing value to others, teaching other people, I was teaching people on manufacturer side, I was teaching contractors, teaching end users, and I was just stepping my professional game up massively.
I love that. And so that's when you started to pivot and think maybe like this training thing could actually go somewhere?
Yeah. So one of the things that I did mention, when you transition out of being a technician, I was making I think the last year was 140 or 150,000 a year. When I made that transition to go into manufacturing, I took almost a 50% pay cut.
Right.
So this is one of the hardest things a technician could do because you work as many hours as you want, you can make so much money.
Right.
But when you make that transition to a business role, a sales role, or project manager role, a lot of times you're going to take a big cut. And a lot of people thought I was out of my mind. Like, you're out of your mind. But that's 7 years I built my skills,
right?
And it got to a point when my boss, his name was John Rubito, pretty cool dude, and he was working for me. You work for a corporation, there's all limitations, you know what I mean? They want to pay you more, but they can't.
Yeah, red tape everywhere.
Everywhere. So he was fighting for me every year to try to get to what I wanted. I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to run a team. I wanted to make a certain amount. I wanted to get closer to what I was used to make because I wasn't at that rate. And then I think it was the summer of 21 where he said, Trevor, we did it. We got you the position, technical director, I think it was, or technical manager. We got four people under you. We're getting you the wage package you want. And I was with him that day, and me and my wife been talking about for about months. And that was the pivotal moment in my life, for my family and for me, where I had to make a decision right then. Do I take this job and I stay here for maybe the next decade, because it was really cushy. I was learning, I was growing, but do I make a decision to stay working for someone or finally do one of my passion or my dream to start my own business?
Right. So you took that leap.
So I told them.
So they gave you the pay raise finally. And you're like, deuces, I'm out.
Yeah. He was shocked. He was like, oh man, like, I'm excited for you, but like, are you sure?
Right.
Because we were talking about this for years. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna try this. I know I'm an excellent trainer. I love bringing value to people, and I know we can do this. And I had the backing of my wife, who's like, we talked about a lot. She's like, we can do this. You can do this.
Right.
It might be a struggle, right? Starting any business, there's hard times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we actually took money out of our mortgage, remortgaged our house. We'll do whatever we had to. And if she wasn't on board, it wouldn't have made it happen. But she was there behind me and backing me. And then that was the moment I told him, no, I can't take the job, or I'm going to go start this training business.
Good for you. Wow. I think it's safe to say there's a lot of people that are in this room, the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views that you've got on YouTube that definitely appreciate you making that decision. Yeah. Appreciate you for pushing them and backing them, because it wouldn't be possible without that. So fast forward, we're now training technicians on how to be a better technician, better skills, improve themselves. We're in a market right now, 2025, 2026 now, where we just saw a 32% decrease in installed residential units from Lennox. They just came out with those numbers. We're seeing drops in that. A lot of uncertainty in the market, a lot of uncertainty in homeowners, a lot of uncertainty in businesses. Why is service so important now? Why is investing in your training to make sure that you've got service down packed and you're really efficient at it so important now?
Yeah, and that's good, but I want to step back just a minute too, because you talked about all the views and the likes and all the people think. One of the things I think a lot of people think that we're a social media company because we promote a lot of educational content, but what we do is a commercial training business where we help show the value to customers, like contractors, on if you develop your team with such a strong technical knowledge, a sales knowledge as well, because not only the technical stuff, I find that stuff, it can be easy to train. Right. It's the communication stuff as well as the sales stuff, the confidence to go talk to that customer when you're in front of them to give them the best solution. And I think training is so important now because this can help the bottom line in your business. I train my target market is supermarket contractors, commercial refrigeration contractors. And the biggest thing is callbacks.
Right.
And it's like any business.
Yep.
If you have to go back, you don't get paid for that stuff.
Yep.
And we've seen a huge reduction in callbacks for the technicians who invest in the program, for those contractors who put the technicians who want to learn, who want to grow, who want to benefit themselves. And hands down, I've had so many business owners that repeatedly hire us to say, you know what, Trevor, my lead technicians aren't getting the calls that they used to get.
Right.
Like the younger technician, or even the more senior technician who take the program, they're not making those validation calls. They're solving the problem, they're confidently doing it, and then reducing the callbacks and the warranties. It's just, that's what I love to see.
No, it's fantastic. And I was actually having this conversation up in the press room with a couple of business owners. They didn't give me permission to share it, so I won't give their names or anything. But they were talking about their technicians and some of the frustrations that they're having with callbacks. And he had one tech that reached out to another tech for advice. He's like, his callback rate is higher than yours. Like, why are you even talking to him? Yeah. And there just isn't that leadership within the office to then go and solve problems, get better, improve yourself. So I guess making it more available is a solution, and that's one of the gaps that you've solved. What other pain points are there when it comes to seeing technicians with so much information available, but the lack of wisdom and the lack of application of the knowledge in order to succeed?
I think one of the biggest things, you're right, there's so much knowledge out there, but there's no guidance or direction. And I think that's what Refrigeration Mentor kind of solves, is like when I go in and do a contract with a contractor, they'll put 20 technicians in, and then I'll talk to all the technicians, or my team will, we'll find out what's your issue. Some of them, it's confidence. Some of them is technical stuff. Some of it's sales. Some of it, you know what I mean? So we find out what they actually need, not what the office thinks they need, because the callbacks could be happening, not because of the technical side, just because of the confidence maybe. You know what I mean? They second guess themselves, even though they know it, or they talk to somebody else and they send them in the wrong path. And then it costs more money on the call, it takes longer, or it's a callback. So what we do is we go in and find what their pain points are.
Right.
And then what we do is we build a curriculum around that, or we build a course around that for them. And then so you hit those pain points. Sometimes it's just talking to dispatch. You know what I mean? Like those conversations, so I try to give them some advice or some mentorship. Like they're doing something for a business too. Like the dispatch team that's sending you out to that work every day, that giving you the work, that's a tough job. They're taking the calls where people are cursing at them and yelling at them because somebody else was out there to try to solve a problem and didn't solve it correctly. You know what I mean? So just giving them that advice that it's okay to say thank you sometimes or bring them some coffee goes a long way.
Yep. You talked about the communication skills, and a lot of technicians, and I see this constantly, they're scared to sell because they feel like it's something they're doing to a customer and not something they're doing for the customer. Being able to communicate effectively and actually deliver on value for the customer, and then simply explain options, let them choose what they want to do. I mean, it helps eliminate a lot of those callbacks because they show all of the problems with the system, not just the one.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I know for sure is it comes back to training.
Yeah.
But for your example there is that you got to know that equipment better than the customers, because the customers can find the information out today.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's not hard for them. But our goal as a technician, like you said, is perfect. Let's deliver 2 options for them. You should not want to sell something just to make a commission off it.
Right.
You want to bring value to the people, because that's where you get word of mouth. And this person came here. I had 3 other contractors here. I got these 3 different quotes. They were way different prices, but we took yours and it was a solid one. You know what I mean? I think the biggest thing is knowing the product, knowing the solution for that specific customer. Each customer is going to need something different. If you're selling the same product to different customers that have different needs, that runs into a huge amount of issues. And I see that. I talk to technicians, even on the residential. We don't do much residential, but I have friends, and they'll go in and the salespeople will go and start selling all these equipment, and technicians get, this is not what the customer needs. You know what I mean? And that's why I say the technician is almost always the best salesperson of a company when they're taught the sales side.
Well, and especially when they built trust and established that relationship with the customer, and to bring in another comfort advisor after the fact usually ruins that trust and makes it harder to make the sale at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I was talking to another friend of mine. He's in Calgary. He runs a plumbing company there, but he was talking about performance pay and how he's scared to add in a commission, a bonus structure based off of sales, because he doesn't want to ruin that reputation with customers. He doesn't want his technicians to feel like all they need to do to earn more money is to sell more stuff. What do you say to contractors that are in that position, they want their guys to be able to do things efficiently and not just work for an hourly paycheck, but they're wanting to implement something that's going to help people earn more money and earn the company more money without doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, I love that question, because I talked about this in our training program, depending on what training program it is and what the customer is looking for. But the biggest thing that I try to teach the technician first is the value that you bring for the company. The more money you bring into the company, the more money can be made. But then I have contractors like, well, how do we do this? We're a union shop or this or that. And one of the things that I teach is gross margin. A lot of technicians don't know what gross margin is. It's like how much money you pull into a company versus what you cost the company. Okay, so if you pull in $500,000 to a company, but you cost $400,000, you make $100,000. That's not a very good. It's not a very good ratio.
Yeah.
So I teach technicians before, even if you started a company, if it's a company that's open to it as well, talk about gross margin, how I'm going to make the business more money.
Yep.
You know, because there's technicians that, I'm working for the man and they're always making more money on my dime. But if you ever go look into gross margin of those people, it's not as high as they think it is, because the callbacks, the warranties, and all this stuff. So when I start teaching technicians about talking about gross margin with your service manager or with the boss, and some companies don't like this. Oh, we don't want to talk about that because this technician is making us $500,000, it only costs us $100,000 to have them. You know what I mean? And that's a business. You want to grow the business, but if you want technicians to stay, you got to give them some stuff. And the industry's changing.
Yep.
It's not because you only can make so much per hour. And I tell the technicians, your customer only gets paid so much. They can't. Your company only get paid much an hour for your work.
Yep.
It's not like they can charge you at $1,000 an hour. So the only way to make more money is more hours.
Yep.
But the only other way to make more money is either increase your gross margin and come up with some sort of deal with your company, or you start selling more stuff.
Yeah. I was watching one of our old clips from, I think it was 3-4 years ago now. But one of the guy that was on there, Ishmael, he was talking about how there's only 2 ways that you can become more profitable as a company. You either charge more money, or you get more efficient. Right? Because if you can do a 2-hour job in an hour effectively, obviously not cutting corners and all that, you've now increased your profitability as a company, right? So investing in training, making sure that the techs know what they're doing, they can diagnose quicker, all those things lead to profitability. So I think you hit the nail on the head there.
I think doing both ways.
Yeah.
Better.
Oh, absolutely. It's essential, right? And that's how you compete when we're looking in, I was talking to one of my clients, he's down in Austin, Texas. They got outbid on a job for a 3-ton compressor, and it was a big PE company that was bidding on the job, and they charged like $8,000 or something like that was the quote. It was really, really low. And we're seeing that a lot in the market now, where there's these big PE companies and they're doing whatever it takes to just have guys on the road, because even if they're not making money on the job, at least they're on the road and they're not sitting in the office or at home.
Yeah. I do work with some contractors now that they've done that, where it's slowed down, and they actually send out, but they hired us for multiple contracts. They're like, my guys are slow. I don't want them to be, not learning or on the road. So they'll hire us, and we'll do like a 4-week contract or a 6-week contract or whatever.
I love that.
Yeah, just to keep them learning when it's not super busy. And like, this is costing them a lot of money, because now they're not out there making money. But the way we structure our programs, all online, so it's meeting them 2 hours a week, the technician. So it's kind of like this mentorship kind of technical training program over a long period of time. So I have a lot of contractors. Can you come in and work and do it live and in person? I can do that, and I've done it for years. Like, I've been a trainer since 2015, so almost 11 years now. But one of the things is, if you have technicians in 5 provinces, because I work with companies in Canada that have it all over Western Canada, or in the US in 7 states, I can train all of them at once versus you flying them all in, and it costs $200,000 or $300,000 for that 2-day training.
Right.
And then it's consistent learning. As well as I do, we're here for 2-day training. You know what I mean? You only can absorb so much in an 8-hour session.
And you're drinking from a fire hose.
That's right. So I always do it in these short micro sessions, teach them 1 or 2 points that the contractor needs them to learn or wants them to learn, or the customer, and then just grow from that, because the industry is like drinking from a fire hose. There's so much knowledge.
100% information. I was having another conversation with a different client yesterday as well, and we were talking about the front end and their call center and how important role playing is. And even as something as simple as just role playing 1 paragraph, the opening sentence on the phone, and making sure that you nail that, and you don't go on the phone until you do.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the same thing as a technician. I had to learn that when I was a comfort advisor, and I had to learn the process. I had to make sure that I understood the scripting and understood the verbiage and everything else. I was brand new to HVAC when I was doing that. And so it was essential for me to be able to speak it and communicate things to a customer.
Yeah. We started a customer service training just because of that. Right. Me and Julia, we stepped up, and because we had a lot of people ask us about customer service training. My technicians are great at solving the technical problem, but one of the things is they have a hard time talking with the customer.
Right.
And they love to just go in under the shadow, you know what I mean? Go in, fix the problem, and out. Like, they do a great job, fix the problem. But you need to have that customer face. You need to have that conversation to build that trust, build that relationship with the customer. So we started a program like that, and the technicians it was crazy how much they opened up, but they never had the opportunity to do that. Right. Talking about like window of tolerance, when you're at one customer and they're irate and they're just really mad at the situation, and it might not even be from that situation. It could be from one of their employees that could have stole some money from them or didn't do their job, you know what I mean? But then they take it out you as a technician, and you feel all crappy about it, and you got to go to the next job, and then instead of bringing all that baggage there, you got to figure out ways to clean yourself up. You know what I mean? Just be like, this is a new call. It's a new person. This person's not angry at me, which is really hard to do. You know what I mean? But when you go through a training program and you talk about it and do role playing, that's what we do in the program, is doing role play and just getting them to loosen up and then get them to try it with a customer. You know what I mean? We use AI and stuff with it. They can go into ChatGPT or Gemini and kind of put some advice in there, and before they go into maybe a hostile, not hostile, but a very uncomfortable conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's one of my favorite parts about role playing is that you're doing it with the person who knows the script better than you. And if you can nail it in front of them, you can do it in front of a customer because they have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah.
And if it's correct or not. So you have to be able to do it in front of your managers, do it in front of the business owner, and do it in front of your trainer to make sure that you can nail that. Personal development. I was watching a HVAC school video that you were speaking at their symposium. I think it was last year, the specific video that I saw. But you were talking about how you believe not just in investing in technical knowledge, but also in growing yourself.
Oh, for sure.
And, I believe that if you elevate yourself, you elevate the value that you can bring. That's how you improve your income, improve your value, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why is that something that's so important within the technician sphere? Why do they need to continue to develop themselves personally, not just technically? Marketing isn't magic. It's math. At Free Agency, we've got the formula tattooed on our brains. We are not a digital marketing agency. We don't just throw things at the wall hoping they stick and call it strategy. We're a fractional CMO. The people who come in, grab the wheel, and drive your growth like it owes us money. Our system isn't guesswork. It's battle tested at the highest level. Last year, our clients averaged 45% growth. We've taken companies from 8 figures to 9 in just 12 months. And here's the kicker. We don't do it by blowing your budget. We do it by spending smarter and focusing on 4 core moves. 1, branding, to drive your brand in your market. 2, paid leads. We bring in high intent leads into the business, customers who are ready to buy. Conversion, focusing on turning those leads into clients. And lastly, nurturing, to increase the lifetime value of every single client. Every step is intentional. Every dollar is tracked. And if you're spending $1 million a year in marketing without a 10x return, you're flushing money down the drain. We work with ambitious, no BS contractors who don't just want to try marketing. They want to win. So if you're ready for 50 to 100% growth in the next 12 months, let's talk. At Free Agency, we don't just play the game. We rewrite the rules so that you win every time.
Oh, that's a huge one. Back in 2019 is really when my personal development grew. Like I've always studied the technical stuff, which I was really good at, but I realized that I wanted to bring more value to others. How do I bring more value to others? Is really me knowing more stuff, me understanding others, and I started reading. In 2019, I didn't read any books. So honestly, I was bad at it. So I used to always say, oh, I'm bad at reading. I'm no good at reading. So I didn't read.
Right.
But then I picked up a book and then I read it and I was no good. It took me forever. And then I read it again. And then I read the same paragraph again and again.
You just have to keep starting the same page over.
Yeah. And then at one point I got it.
ADHD kicks in.
Yeah. And then one point I just started getting it. And then I just started reading all these books. Right. Okay. I was reading How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was reading a Mastermind by Mastery by Robert Greene. I was reading Napoleon Hill books. I was reading Tony Robbins books. I was reading Jim Quick books. And I just started reading all these personal development books internally for me to understand how to talk to others, how to communicate, how to really spread value to others by bringing value to me. Because if I don't feel great about myself, I don't understand what other people are talking about, that's really where it started to grow for me. So leadership was one thing that I wasn't good at. So I started reading all these books on leadership, like Good to Great. And I can go on and on with the books that I've read, but that really changed my life, is start to read more. And I couldn't read before 2019, like a book. I know not many full books and biographies I read before that. But that's when it started to shift for me. And then I really believed in personal development. I listened to motivational podcasts, professional development podcasts from 2019, even till this day. Right. I go to the gym and I'm listening to personal development podcasts. There's one that I listen to a lot. It's called Motivate. Okay. Motivate, that one there I listen to. Resilience Mindset. I listen to, there's quite a few other ones.
What are you reading right now?
I'm listening to a few different books. There's actually one that I'm listening to is about clutter.
Nice.
Because I got small kids and there's stuff everywhere. So I'm listening to that one there because there's toys everywhere all the time. And I'm just trying to figure out the best way to teach them how to show that it's important to put stuff away, things like that. You know what I mean? So
take care of your space.
So it's not really on the personal development side. Right now, the one that I'm on the personal development side that I'm doing, I do a lot of Alex Hormozy stuff.
Yeah.
So this year is on how to find more leads, how attraction offers, how to make more money. So that's kind of business side of personal development. I'm learning some more on the marketing side, and that's what I'm working on right now.
Love it. Yeah, Hermosi's books are great.
Oh, yeah.
The $100 million offers, $100 million leads.
Yep.
And I don't have the last one yet.
Money models.
Money models. That's what it was. Yeah, he's brilliant. I just watched his podcast that he did with Tony Robbins. Yeah. And it was so funny because he looked so nervous at the beginning of it. Yeah. And then the entire podcast it completely got derailed because Tony just flipped it on him and basically coached him for the entire podcast.
That was awesome.
It was so cool.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. Me and my wife, we were discussing that one too. I was actually down there. I was here in Vegas in November for their event.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. I recommend it.
Yeah, amazing. But yeah, going back to it, it's investing in yourself, investing in the value that you bring to the marketplace, to your business. Yeah. If you want to increase your money, if you want to increase your income, increase the value that you bring. Yeah, right? That's a Jim Rohn thing.
Yeah, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, he passed away a couple of years ago, but I listened to a lot of him, and he was like, you be the first one there, you bring so much more value, bring value every day, be the last one to leave, and you consistently do this. Maybe your company doesn't see that, but that company down the road is going to see that. Yep. The more value you bring to other people, the more value you're going to get. So, like, once I said, I've seen this time and time again too, even with technicians that are trained for, where I got to the point where they're crushing it day in, day out, and they're just like, okay, I'm ready to make that next move. Yeah. And then sometimes that company that they're at is not the company that can give them that next move. And it's not the company's fault. Like, they just don't have those roles. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to become a service manager, but that service manager's 35 and just started, and it's pretty good. Yep. It's not like you're getting moved in that role. So that's where you might have to pivot and move to another company or start your own company, whatever it is.
Great. There's lots of different directions to go into. This industry is massive. There's so many opportunities that exist, and when you're really good, they'll find a spot for you.
Yeah. And I think one of the things is that transition is very nerve-wracking. I have conversations all the time with technicians who want to make a move into either their own business or get into more of a leadership role. And it's just, I think it's the scarcity. You know what I mean? It's like, what happens if it doesn't work? What happens if I'm not making any money? Well, you always can go back. Yeah. You know what I mean? It might suck for a while. You might have to do things that you don't like, but you can go back. And it's taking that chance that I think it's jumping out, because that was really the hard point for me. And then a lot of companies today make it real easy for people to stay. Yeah. Just on that borderline, you know what I mean? You make the pay where it's like good enough, you can live and stuff, but it's not where you want to get to those next goals, whatever your goals are. For me, it's like family stuff. I need our ESPs as high as they can for my kids. Our RSPs working on trying to invest in our future, saving and sometimes depending on your role, stuff's expensive today. You know what I mean? Food's expensive, life's expensive, and so to make that transition sometimes it's a difficult move to move up to that next level, because usually you have to take a few steps back before you can really move forward in the business. And then
yeah. So for technicians that are just starting out down this journey, or like they're getting to the place of wanting to get into personal development, are there any initial books that you would recommend that are a little bit easier reads?
Okay, some easier ones for me. I would say How to Win Friends and Influence. It's a thick one, so I would say it's an old one. It's an old one. There are a lot of them are older ones that I listen to, but it stands the test of time. Yeah, and that I go back with. That would be one. I think I liked the Robert Greene one because it was a mastery, just because I was an apprentice, and it talks about the apprentice, and it talks about like way back and how apprenticeship was. Right. So it kind of connected with me because I was a technician. Right. What other one? I think Jim Quick's book was really really good because he talks about small, simple steps. Mm-hmm. He also talks about how to read faster, like speed reading in the book. Right. Talks about mindset and motivation and how to motivate yourself, things like that. How to get yourself in the gear and take action on certain things. Atomic Habits was another one by James Clear. That's a pretty good one.
He's speaking at the event I'm at next week. I'm excited to meet him.
Oh yeah, so it'll be awesome. So, just talking about little habits, and that's another thing that got me into Refrigeration Mentor. Like before I started Refrigeration Mentor, I took a course with a company there were six-figure mentors at first. Now they're called the Mentors. And basically, I wasn't good on video at first, you know what I mean? But one of the things is like, I did a 90-day challenge. Every day I put a camera right in front of me like this, and I spoke to the camera every day for 3 minutes, and I posted it every day. And I felt scared and nervous doing it. But after those 90 days, man, I was crushing it. And that's why one of the reasons why I'm here. And that's the little habits. Another habit is like, okay, well, I want to just put a water beside your bed at night. Every night, just go down, get a water, put it beside your bed, wake up and have your first glass of water in a day. So there's a lot of little tips like that. It's hard to do. But, you brush your teeth every day and you don't even think about it. Okay, just you brush your teeth, in the morning, in the evening, whatever it is,
Yeah, the car you put on the seatbelt. It's just automatic.
It's automatic. And so this is just teaching your brain how to do that. And that's what I'm doing with personal development.
Love it. That's fantastic.
Extreme ownership's one of my favorites for people that are just getting into wanting to go down that road, because he bounces back and forth between the war stories. Jocko Willink is the author. He was in Navy SEALs. But he bounces back and forth between those stories in Afghanistan and then how does he apply it to business? And so it keeps you engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of his stuff over the years.
That's good. I want to talk really quick about PE in the commercial space. This was something that came up last night. I was doing a podcast with the trademark folks, so Eric and Sarah, and we were talking about how PE has really dove into residential. And it's kind of the writing on the wall that they're going to start diving in more into commercial. I was curious your opinions on it.
Oh, there's a huge amount of that in the commercial space. I think there's four or five big ones right now. Yeah, they own like between them probably most of the market, between three or four of them in the supermarket space. So there's lots of different opinions. Everyone has lots of different opinions on them. Like it's good, it's bad. For me, I'm there for the people. Right. If they work for a PE, they work for a small company, it doesn't matter to me. My goal is to help the refrigeration industry, help those technicians, help those business owners, help the people that are managers or directors, because I have a lot of friends that are in PE companies. These are some of the best people in the world. They just work for a PE company and they're trying to serve customers. You know what I mean? They want to bring the most amount of value to the companies. And people can complain about PEs or not complain. For me, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because what I want is those technicians to be confident, bring value to them, and then have a life for their families. Right. You know what I mean? When you can make enough money, you feel confident in your job, you're having fun at your job, because that's one of the things that I see, especially in my industry, in the supermarket. There's long hours. There's nights, there's weekends, that can be tough. But when you work at it with your company and you get a culture going, you talk with your family about it, to have them understand that sometimes dad has to leave the table and go do a service call and have that communication. I think the communication thing is the biggest thing. But I see great things about PE firms and I see things that aren't so great about them. You know what I mean? But that goes with any business. And that's what I try to tell people, And everyone has their own opinion. Mine is that I'm there for the people, try to help the people in the refrigeration industry. So we're all trying to do the same thing. Yep. Bring value to others, save lives, you know what I mean? That's what we do in refrigeration.
100%. Is there anything?
What's your thoughts on it? How about that?
Oh, no, I echo a lot of the same sentiments, right? Like at the end of the day, the company is the company. And if you're the technician, they offer a lot of growth, there's a ton of advancement opportunities. Because even if it's not within the company that you're in right now, they can transfer you to another one that they own and help you move up there. I think it's great for the mom and pop shops that exist in the market as well, because it gives them a chance to separate themselves, connect with the community more. How can you build relationships within the Chamber of Commerce if you're on the industrial commercial side? How can you build those B2B relationships with property managers? And then on the residential side, there's so much opportunity to build relationships with people. At the end of the day, that's what we are in, is a people business. Yeah. Right? Yes, we work on equipment all day long, but it's people that make decisions.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you would like people to know about outside of the mentor part? Because we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, no, I think what we touched on is invest in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. It doesn't matter if you're a business owner or if you're a service manager, a director, a technician. The more you invest in yourself, the better. Even invest in yourself more than your job. That's what Jim Rohn says. You know what I mean? Invest in yourself more than your job. And then that's where you grow in your job.
Yeah, I had a leader of mine. He said, if you want to double your income, you got to quadruple your investment in your personal development.
Yeah.
Because if you continue to do that, you're almost just going to keep growing and evolve beyond what it is that you're at now.
Yeah, I love that. And that's why we're here today. That's what we do. I can tell that you invest in yourself, right?
Have to. I got to level up to keep up with Lizzie. I know she had to leave here, but yeah, she inspires me every day to keep going, and I got to make sure that I can live up to her level. So
I love it.
All right, Refrigeration Mentor. Who is it the best fit for?
So this is the best fit for commercial refrigeration, supermarket contractors, realistically, people getting into CO2 refrigeration or working on parallel racks or rack application. We do have chiller courses. So I do partner with a company called Pro Refrigeration, and we do chiller courses for them, as well as we do technician courses. So our main focus, though, is on the technicians for supermarket companies.
Love it. And I did notice on your website, you've got a lot of freebies as well. Free ebook download PDF that's on there, that pop up that is bugging you on every single page that you go on to. Great marketing on that. But also the YouTube channel, there's a lot of free content out there as well. So, if you're thinking about hiring Trevor or looking into some of his courses and you want to see if he's a good fit, go watch some of his free content because there's a ton of it out there. You're someone that gives a lot in order to gain, which, givers gain. That's the founder of BNI that talks about that. But the more content that you put out there, the more that you're making a change in the industry. So thank you for doing all that you do.
Appreciate it.
Because it's making a difference.
Yeah, thanks. And what I love about coming to an event like this, getting to chat with you, it's getting the conversation going with others. Like I've had so many technicians who have taken a program and say, Trevor, man, your course has changed my life, you know what I mean? Or it set me on a path of, wanting to be better tomorrow than I am today, and that's what I say tomorrow. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. So what do I have to do today to get to that point? So it's really exciting. It's a great time to be in our industry. It's a community. I just started a community at refrigerationmentor.com/hub community where we have a bunch of technicians free to come in, where they can come in and they can ask questions, because I have a lot of technicians who are afraid to ask their service manager, how do I check superheat or this, because they've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, and some are not very nice. They scold them. I had one young guy say, I taught him about P&IDs, which is the piping schematics, and how to read them. And so he went to his service manager, asked him, can you get me a P&ID from one of these stores? Because I asked him to go to it. They're like, I've been doing this for 25 years. I didn't need one of those. You don't need one of those. You know what I mean? So we have a safe community where you can come and get a couple of ambassadors, Andrew Freeberg and Aiden Lucy, to give them advice. So if they have a technical issue or a personal development issue or a career development issue, we're trying to just help those technicians globally to level up.
There you go. I love it. You're going to have to turn yourself into an AI soon so that people just ask questions and they're going to be able to get the answers.
Yeah. Oh, I've been asked many times, but that's where we're authentic, right? We try to keep it real.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Trevor. I appreciate it. Sorry we had to come all the way down to Vegas to do this since we both live in Canada, but it's much nicer weather here.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Evan.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Definitely want to hear what you thought of this episode. Leave a comment down below, let us know. And if you really want to show some support back to us, we could really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button as well. And if you did want to get notified when we come up with a new episode, hit the bell icon over there. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.